My guest, almost 50 years in showbiz, she has enjoyed success in theater, movies, and television. She has appeared on television shows such as Bonanza, The Love Boat, Win, Lose, or Draw, Gunsmoke, Match Game, Pyramid, The Muppet Show, Hollywood Squares, Burkes Law, Murder, She Wrote, Love, American Style, and Ironsides, to name a few. But she is most recognized for playing the memorable role of Hot Lips Houlihan for 251 episodes on the iconic television show MASH, which garnered her 2 Emmy Award wins. Nowadays, she is an animal rights activist, recently receiving the Betty White Award from Actors and Others for Animals. She has also published her new book called SWITHEART, The Watercolour, Artistry, and Animal Activism of LORETTA SWIT, which includes 65 colorful images in 128 pages, which you can find, folks, on Amazon. It's burning up Amazon. So many great reviews. Okay, folks, Hot Lips herself, Loretta Swit, joins me. Loretta, first of all, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon.
Well, it's lovely to talk to you, and I'm going to quickly, I think Amazon may be out of the book, which is probably a good sign. They can always go to my website if it's true that Amazon is on hold to get another shipment. They can go to SWITHEART.org and get on my website. They can actually see some paintings from the book and get it from the book. Get it from the website. So there's that I wanted to quickly say. Okay?
Excellent. I'm going to put that on social media as well.
Yes, please. Actually, if they want to find me, I'm all over social media as well. You can get me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everything. It's hard not to find me. And and given the MASH marathons that are everywhere, it's really hard to avoid me.
That's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all. I mean, nowadays everybody's has so much access to celebrities and people like you that are very generous with their time and they respond to their fans.
I'm a people person. People actor and people person, always have been. I love contact, I'm tactile as a friend, hugging, and you know what I mean?
Fantastic.
So I really enjoy the craziness of autograph shows, for example. I enjoy them. I enjoy meeting people, hearing their stories. I've watched you for years. My kids watch you now. I told them all about you.
Wow.
And then sometimes they're kids. Sometimes it's my grandfather introduced me to MASH, and he loves you. And,
it's amazing. It's
so
amazing.
Yes,
it's amazing.
I tell you something. It's a beautiful way to live with all that love coming at you.
Oh, you can never have enough love, right?
No.
Loretta, I want to start off early in your career. Like I said in your intro, you played Hawaii Five-0, Gunsmoke, Mission Impossible. You were on Mannix.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about your arrival in Hollywood. Was it difficult to find roles as a woman?
Well, when I arrived in Hollywood, I wasn't looking for roles. But it's always difficult. Acting is not a sure thing. The reason you do it is because you love it, but it's not because you're going to turn around and get a job and get great reviews and be famous. It doesn't work that way. So you better be in it for the satisfaction, the personal gratification and satisfaction of sharing with the audience, of expressing your emotions and storytelling and so forth. That better be your kick, because that's the only thing that is guaranteed. You're not guaranteed a career. You don't get, a certificate like you do in Greece. For example, you become an actor and you have a diploma and you go out and you get a job. But it doesn't work that way. When I came to California, it was on my way back home to New York. I had just done MAME in Caesar's Palace with Susan Hayward. And I met the casting director for CBS, and an agent had been in her office raving about me. He did not represent me. He did not know me. And when she met me, she said, "My God, you're the one that he was raving about. If you're going to be here for a while, you ought to call him because he thinks you're terrific." So I did, and he sent me out, and I got the job, and it was on Gunsmoke, and it was a great director, Philip Leacock, beautiful British director, wonderful director, and before I was finished with that, he sent me on an interview for Mannix, and I got that. I went straight into that from Gunsmoke, and I went straight into Hawaii Five-0 after the Gunsmoke, and that was a two-parter. So it was quite amazing, wonderful transition from Las Vegas Mame into film. Yeah.
Yeah, it must have been
into television.
How was it working with Jack Lord? Because I had Marion.
I loved Jack.
Yeah,
I loved him. Yeah. Oh my, what a love! I adored him. I adored him. I loved working with him. He was a consummate professional. I loved him. Loved him.
You know, when I told people on social media that I would be interviewing you today, I was blown away. I'd be like, wow, unbelievable. There's you got so many fans across the world, like we talked about earlier. But
yes.
I mean, let's get into your the meat of the role. Talk about how you got the role of Margaret Hot-Lips Houlihan. How did that happen?
I was coming back from another Hawaii Five-0. I had been away for a long time. It was a two-parter, so I was in Hawaii for like a month or whatever.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. Lucky. It was hard.
That must have been terrible. That must have been terrible.
Yeah. Just somebody had to do it. So I came back, and I had sort of missed all the hullabaloo about the idea of doing an episodic MASH and blah, blah, blah. And so my agent called, and that same one, my same agent, he said, don't worry. He said, "Have you seen the movie?" I said, "No." He said, "It doesn't matter. You don't have to know anything. They just want to meet and greet. They don't even have a script. They have nothing to read. You don't have to read or anything. They're just meeting actors, and the role is for Margaret Houlihan, whatever it's about." And so I had no fear, no pressure, no nothing. It was an easy, yeah, sure. I remember going with a girlfriend. We went shopping first. She was going to meet me afterwards for dinner, and it was lighthearted, wonderful. If I'd have known what was in store,
my good. All right.
I would have been a nervous wreck.
I know.
Anyway, it was all very, very happy, wonderful. And in those days, because I think it might be a little different now. They can't really do that now. When they see you and they're interested, they ask the agent to kind of hold you for them, until they make up their mind. So maybe more than one. They like this one, that one, that. And so it's kind of a non-technical hold, more like a handshake. We're interested in her. And these are our dates.
They put you on layaway. They put you on layaway for a while.
Yeah, the layaway plan. So they gave him the dates, and we had an offer for a movie at Universal with some conflicting dates. So my agent called Gene Reynolds and said, "We have an offer." And just some fortuitous, ironic, coincidental, whatever you want to call it, chemistry. Gene said, "We were just going to call you. We've decided to go with Loretta." And so that's as easily as it tumbled out. It just it was meant to be, I guess. Yeah.
In 1970, they made a film, and I believe Sally Kellerman played your role. Did you ever consult with her?
About what?
About the role for Hot-Lips?
No. To what end? Why would I talk to another actor about a role?
Because she played the part before.
No, but what would be the point?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe
no. Nobody. We don't do that. we don't do that.
Loretta, anytime you talk about the horrors of war, on the show you were dealing with the Korean War, episodes of MASH, they were brilliantly a blend of comedy and drama. Talk about the writers and how they made it so humane and funny at the same time.
Well, you're saying it. You're saying what they did.
Right.
Otherwise, you need to talk to the writers. They're brilliant.
Yeah, they were.
You saw what they did. It was amazing.
And the way they had such a great balance, with the characters.
Indeed.
On the show, extras would die on the show. Talk about when McLean Stevenson was killed off.
Yes.
If you can talk about that.
Well,
because it had such an impact on the fans.
If you saw the episode,
right?
You saw how heartbreaking it was, and it was very, very important in so far as I think pushing the envelope.
Right.
You had a character whom everyone loved, and a lead role. Not just a character, but a leading role. And suddenly, he was taken from you, not by the producers, not by the writers, but by the war. And it gave them an opportunity to say that when the calls and the letters came in saying, how could you do that to the audience? And they were able to say, we didn't, the war did. You have that energy you want to put out there. You put it out there to end the thing that killed him, which was the war.
Right.
And it was a great opportunity. MASH saw opportunities in everything, matching different characters and putting them out there. What if these two who never got along went out and did this? And in Mac's case, Mac was leaving the show. So what better opportunity would they have than to use that in it's going to sound wrong to say positive way, but if you learn from that, it is a positive way. And there were other instances where they did that. Sometimes you hear the bullet when a friend of Hawkeye's, a school chum, comes through. He's a photojournalist, I think. But these were wonderful areas to explore, and still keep it in our range. The dramedy.
Loretta, the episode with the nurses, your character really, really evolved. Did you have any say in the input of writing that episode? Because, like you said, we talked about, men wrote the episodes.
Right. I had tremendous input into the development of her character. Yes, they allowed me that. All of us. It was a communal effort. We had great people at the head. Doesn't get better than Larry Gelbart and Gene Reynolds, and the ensemble of actors who were so close. We still are family, and we worked on the same page, spoke the same language. We had a chemistry from the get-go, from day one, and so it was magical. It was something very special that happened all the time. Rehearsals, shooting, what have you. We hung out together when we didn't have to. We spent time together when we weren't working. We just loved each other.
And that's rare in Hollywood because a lot of the cast of The Honeymooners. I tell this story a lot because people think they had such great chemistry and probably went out and hung out. But from what I had Joyce Randolph on, and she said, no, we hated each other. And you would never think that. But you guys, go ahead.
Well, maybe she was speaking for herself. But I I knew Jackie, he was a love. I mean, I can't imagine somebody not loving him. But that's me. Who knows? I don't know. I can only speak from my wonderful experience, and it really was wonderful. Continues to be. If you paid attention today, there's a podcast you can link up to with the MASH cast talking to Alan on his podcast. I mean, we're family. We're very, very close. We're lifelong friends. We always will be.
That like I said, that's rare, and that's great to hear. You know what I mean? Because it's so rare. Loretta, it's very difficult to get ratings for a show, and very difficult to maintain those ratings. You guys got 8 Golden Globes, 6 people won Choice Awards, and 14 Emmys, 2 won. But what do you think was the formula that kept?
I think we had 25 Emmys, but that's you're right. It's wonderful. We won some, or Larry and Jean did, some very important, prestigious awards. The Humanitas Award, which is not a theatrical award. It's recognizing the humanity in the theatricality we were projecting. You know what I'm saying? It was that was what was so exceptional, that they were the Humanitas Award, that you don't have a quote sitcom, which I always feel we weren't, but that was our category. And for a sitcom to be given the Humanitas Award is really something special, something that doesn't happen very often, maybe ever. I mean, I don't know what the status is, what the ratio is about that. But I don't know. But then of course the camaraderie and the lasting power.
Right.
No, it's MASH has become such a classic because it was so honest, and people, our audiences, related so strongly to our family. Everybody, related to us as their family. Television does that anyway. It can be a very strong, positive message, and we should try to do that and entertain at the same time. But I mean, basically, we would babysit kids. The parents could leave their kids with us. We were dependable. We weren't going to steer the kids wrong. And not too much has changed in the messages because they were humane and human. The resilience of people in that terrible situation, how hard they tried to save lives, to be good in their jobs, and because of the manic situation, the craziness, the fun, to just keep them. I mean, I did a documentary with and about POWs, and their horrific situation was alleviated to some degree by their Black humor. That was the whole theme in a way. MASH. The only way you could exist in that terrible situation was to be crazy and do crazy things, to make jokes and do jokes on each other and give crazy parties where everything is green here. I'm so sick of green. Let's make it red. So everybody dyed their hair red and they wore red, and they, I mean, it was being insane in an insane situation. And the only way to survive and keep sanity was to do that, was to be crazy, to conquer the insanity.
Right.
So, and that's very, very special and timeless. That's what we're still doing.
Right. Like I said earlier, I mean, Loretta, your fans, there's such a great bond with your fans, and they're so loyal to you guys. And we talk about family, and obviously McLean Stevenson was killed off. I'm sure there wasn't a dry eye, watching their TV sets. But, I'm sure the enrollment in medical schools alone between the time you guys were on must have been at an all-time high.
Yes, I'm sure. Yes.
A lot of people, I'm sure, want to get into the medical profession because of MASH. And I mean, you read it everywhere, you see it everywhere, and it was amazing the bond that you guys had with your fans. Talk about the fan mail that you guys received.
So I think a lot of those things that we're talking about now is what keeps us in the hearts of our audience, and it's what keeps us close to them. There were kids, let's say, when we first began in 1972. So I have, let's say, a 10-year-old girl watching me. And we go off the air. She's 21, right? Yeah. I mean, she now is looking at me as an inspiration, maybe a role model, and not maybe, because I get letters like this all the time. But she becomes a nurse because of what she sees, on television. Hi, David. I'm on my way out. This is why I think it has this life going, and it's simply amazing, and
it just keeps going.
Obviously
the syndication worldwide. It's just
yes. It went into syndication in year 3. So now you have a situation where MASH has never been off the air. So the first 11 seasons you had reruns, so it had had that life, but then at the same time it was syndicated all over the world. So it's enormous and overwhelming.
Loretta,
it's just
Loretta. The original set was the Fox Ranch in Malibu. That got destroyed in a fire.
A long time ago, actually, we had to. It was destroyed by fire, so that we weren't able to do Goodbye, Farewell, and Amen when it was scheduled to be done. But it was just recently fired up again.
Right, the Paradise. It was
fire. Never. Yeah, it was never. Can we turn this off? It was never reconstructed. It just. They put up a kind of facsimile, sort of. It wasn't. They didn't reconstruct what was there initially.
Loretta, MASH is the highest rated ever watched show in the history of television.
Right.
Take my listeners and the lovers of MASH, take them into the final week of rehearsal with the cast and crew. What was the vibe on the set?
Well, it to an onlooker, I would say there was no difference, because we were always kissy, huggy, loving, close. We put our chairs together and created this little green room where we ran lines and stuff. We stayed closer together during that week. We didn't go out of that circle very much. There was this ever-present bittersweet thing that was about to happen, where suddenly you were going to lose your right arm or something, or it was very dramatic and very, very bittersweet.
Yeah.
And right after they called "That's a Wrap," they put us into a bus and took us to the commissary, and we had this sea of interviewers and press and cameras and all, and we gave this last big press conference, and it was a little shell shock, a little difficult. After 11 years, suddenly there's this one day and this one moment, this one time, and it's suddenly over. And so, of course, for some of us, Harry and Bill and Jamie, they were going segue right into Aftermath. So it was a little different for them. And, but it's difficult to imagine, but it really was a phenomenon.
Mm. What would you say would be your favorite memory of the show?
Of the 11 years, you mean?
Yes, of the show,
It's all one big miracle. No, I have no one memory. There was this loving every day, and loving for the fabric of the work. I was given these lovely scripts every week, and to develop a character that I loved and respected, and I'm proud of. It was a consummation devoutly to be wished, if I may quote the bard.
After the show ended, did you want to go do another sitcom, or did you just, it was just, you can never top that?
I was committed to a tour.
Oh, wow.
I believe I went straight out to do. No, I'm sorry. I had a Broadway show. I don't honestly remember. I didn't. I never planned my life that way. Like, I'm going to do another quote sitcom, or I'm going to do another. And I don't think I would have had that thought. I'm sure that my agent had lots of scripts along those lines. But I think if something as good as MASH
never
ever presented itself, I would have been happy to plunge in. But
nowadays, Loretta, they're making so many remakes. I mean, what would your thoughts be if they would have ever remake MASH?
How would you do that?
Right.
How could you do that?
Right.
First of all, we were already how many years longer than the war? No. What would you remake? What is there to do? What?
Right.
I don't get that at all.
Yeah, because there's always rumors circulating. I don't know. On the internet, I think, is everything true on the internet? I don't know. I don't think so. I want to get into your wonderful book, Loretta. Let's talk about your book. It's called SWITHEART, Watercolor, Artistry, and Animal Activism of Loretta Swit.
My book, it's wonderful. It's getting sold, and it's very popular. I have, after I leave Florida, I have 3 book signing events, and after that, when I go back to New York City, I have another book signing event, Valentine's Day. And then after that, I fly to California to go to the Icon Oscar Award dinner. And I'm being given the Icon Award with Michael Learned and Lainey Kazan. So it's been fantastic.
And correct me if I'm wrong, proceeds of the book will be donated to charities?
No, my charity.
Your
Proceeds
charity.
for the book go into SWITHEART Animal Alliance.
I mentioned in the intro, Loretta, that you received the Betty White Award, which is the equivalent of receiving like an Oscar for animal rights activism.
Yes, it's a wonderful award. Betty is a true champion of our cause. She is a board member at Actors and Others for Animals, where I am vice president.
Where do you think you've always been an advocate for animal rights? I mean, where do you think the love of animals, passion came from?
Instinct. I don't know. I have always had a fondness, a love, affection, respect for all animals.
Folks, joining me on the phone is legendary, iconic actress Loretta Swit. She has a great book out called SWITHEART, the Watercolor and Artistry and Animal Activism of Loretta Swit. You can get it at SWITHEART.org. WSIT heart.org. It's a fantastic book. So many great pictures, and she's an artist as well. And there's so many great artwork that she has done. So check that out. And Loretta, this has been great for me, and I'm a huge fan of, of yours, obviously.
Thank you.
And you're an absolute doll for doing what you do. And,
Thank you, sweetie. Thank you
God
so much.
bless you, and keep doing what you're doing for animals.
God bless.
Keep doing what
I will.
Because my daughter and myself, are huge animal lovers, and we really appreciate what you and Betty White done for a lot of the animals. And
Thank you.
all right, the great Loretta Swit. Folks, please visit SWITHEART.com, SWITHERT.org, .org, to pick up a copy of her book. A lot of her proceeds go to her charity to help animals, and it's a great cause. And it's called SWITHEART, the Watercolor Artistry and Animal Activism of Loretta Swit.